All right, team. First of all, thank you. Third time's a charm. So
Yes,
it
it
may seem.
is.
Well, what made you tackle the teen division, and and why?
Steph, go ahead and start it off. Start off the story.
All right. So my name's Stephanie Price, and I like to start by saying I'm a first and foremost, well, I'm a woman, but first and foremost, a mom of a CrossFit teenager. So my son Azariah was a 2019 CrossFit Games teen. He was 15 years old, finished 10th that year, and when he decided to go to the CrossFit Games, I had a big learning curve. I had to kind of figure out what do kids need to do. I didn't even know that was a thing. So what all do they need? Coaching and nutrition and all this stuff. So I did a lot of research, and I essentially was his agent for about 2.5, 3 years. And really, the parents are. I mean, we work as their agents, right? Because we make all the travel plans and we finance it all and all of that. So I had a couple years of experience under my belt when we came to the pit to come under Brock and Autumn's coaching at Triple River CrossFit. And I had approached Brock and I said, the CrossFit teams just don't have a lot out there, for them as far as training camps or, just a lot of resources. And there really is an untouched demographic, in my opinion, at that point. So that was about 2019. And so we had already talked about maybe having a camp or something. And then COVID hit. And when COVID hit here in the United States, and I'm sure, everywhere else across the world, the CrossFit Games were canceled for the age groups. And that was about April of 2020. And I texted Brock or he texted me, or I don't remember how it worked, but I said something like, we could do something. Because one of the things we have here at the Pitt Fitness Ranch in Southwest Michigan, which is right in the heart of the Midwest, just FYI, Alex, is we have space,
Thanks, boss.
outdoor space. So it was like, we can do something for these kids. And so we just started putting our heads together, asking other people, would you come to the pit for a competition if we can pull it off? And people were like, yeah, if we can. So we just started resourcing and asking people what we could do. And at the end of the day, we ended up having 46 athletes here in 2020. And we've just kind of gone from there. And it was really just seeing a niche, seeing a need, knowing what the need was, and knowing that we could meet it. And Brock and Autumn have a lot more background with teenagers in general as far as coaching goes. So when we put our respective experiences together, we were able to tackle this demographic.
It's definitely a demographic that is underserved, right? And usually think about there's a lot for kids, and then they reach like 12, 10, 11, 12, and then they just kind of like, all right, see you later. They get to like high school. You guys have what is it called? Middle school? You have middle school, right? Intermediates and stuff. Yeah, we don't have that back home. You just kind of get thrown into high school, and it's maybe 1 or 2 years into high school, and then people stop doing sports, and then that's it. And it's a huge just drop off from about 12, 13, maybe 14 for ladies if they're lucky, and then like 16 for blokes, and then that's it. It goes straight down, and there's no pathways, right? It's like, if you're not going to play pro ball, you're kind of buggered. Get out of my sight. You're not going to make us any publicity or any money. So I think it's awesome. I think it's something that's necessary. There's something else out there for kids who want to move around, whether you want to do it competitively or whether you just like want to move around and don't want to play a traditional sport. You're still getting the team-based stuff of community because there's still people around in the gym. You still got role models as the coach. I think it's great, man. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'll sort of chime in a little bit, Alex. So basically, the program that we started initially was a team mentorship program, and it was a powerlifting program, which powerlifting is the three big lifts: the deadlift, the bench press, and the back squat. And we saw that as an opportunity to show kids how to be healthy, number one, Number two, give them a little bit of mentorship and provide a program for kids that may not have the opportunity to participate in a sport due to, it costing money, or, they hadn't trained in that sport for a while and they're, a sophomore or a junior in high school. Do you guys use that same?
Not terminology, no, but I'm following.
Well, there's 16, 17-year-old youth that maybe had different interests than sports, but yet they understand that they need to be healthy, and they can't find where they should be or what they should do. They don't know what to do when they go to a gym. They know their friends are going to the gym, but they're their friends. They don't know how to work out yet. So we wanted to provide a program that would allow the kids that were into music or arts or different types of life skills to participate in something that could build their confidence in a physical way, and also build their confidence, towards being stronger than the average human, because that's going to carry you into lots of different avenues, like you said. I mean, if you give them a path like that and they don't become a pro athlete, which is very, very few, at least at the bare minimum, they're going to become a person that has discipline through doing hard things. They're going to have built something that on their own that they can own, that they have themselves. Like they built their body, they built this maybe they built knowledge of nutrition, how to eat properly. Maybe they've built a cardiovascular conditioning that is gonna help them revisit if they need to in life, or maybe they just stay consistently. And if they become that type of a person with that open-minded mindset towards what health or strength or just confidence in that atmosphere, it just opens up so many different doors of success layers. There's different levels that they're going to be able to achieve because of a program like that. And we're seeing it in real time. Next week, I have a roundtable, or I'm sorry, December, we have a roundtable YouTube event set up. I think it's going to be on December 20th on Pit Media. We're going to do a roundtable with 5 different girls who have graduated. So our town is 7,000 people. So that's not really big, right? Generally speaking, 7,000 people in one small town isn't like a giant area, but our high school is accommodating that with a few hundred students. And over the last 3 years, we've had 5 Division I athletes go to 5 different sports, among many others. But I'm just saying, this podcast is going to be, or not podcast, but YouTube segment is going to be about these girls have all trained CrossFit throughout their youth. And they've all done the same program, Alex. Like they're not doing like a bunch of different things. They're coming to our gym from the school that we're at, doing the same thing. And then they're going to play their sport. And they've all went to different sports. And my point is that the sports specific piece of this isn't as relevant as people think, right? So you have girls like that, and you have boys like that, blokes like that.
Hey.
And then I'm picking up, bro. You're teaching me. And then also from there you have, your military kids. So we've got loads of special forces guys, and then also people who are just in the military working hard. They don't have to be special forces to be proud to be in that world. I'm just saying the typical type of person that comes through here is not just going for that just barely that. They're going for the moon, and if they miss the moon, like the old shoot for the moon
and the stars,
Yeah, right. But basically, the stars would be just a good life of health. Just a good youth where you understand what health is, you understand how to build health, achieve health, how to help other people be healthy. That knowledge is priceless, especially at a young age, and that's our underlying mission with everything. And the games is just a phenomenal. I mean, CrossFit is a great company, regardless of. There's so much, you know, people like to people are always going to bring drama into something and this and that just for the clicks or for the likes. But I can tell you, from being on the inside, we see what's going on, and it feels really good and looks really good, and it's headed in the right direction. So the games platform is a platform where we feel like it's something that we needed to help complete our mission on this whole path of changing the world, starting with the health of the youth.
I mean, it's the whole thing of how do you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. But it's all, I think, I don't really believe in top-down approaches. I think you pour a big bucket of water and it trickles down, and the next thing you know, you got one little raindrop at the bottom. It's like, what am I supposed to do with that? It's not going to flood anything. So building it from the ground up, in my opinion, has been number one. It's like, well, where's the foundation? Where's the base? We can speak about that with the youth. We can speak about that with nutrition. If you want to go to the pyramid, we can speak about the competency of a GPP program, right? You go back to USSR Olympic athletes. What do they do outside of a cycle of 4 years of the Olympics? They do GPP. They bear crawl, they run, they throw, they jump, they lift. It's like they do everything. I'm like, oh, so you're doing functional movement constantly varied, and you're probably going to execute it at somewhat relative intensity. You're like, oh, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, general physical preparedness is exactly what it says it is.
Yeah.
You're generally physically prepared for anything that comes up. I mean, that's gold. That's gold. If you can learn how to do that, and not only if you can learn how to do that, but once you learn how to do that, or once you have an idea, then it's not really that hard to sort of open up the book for other people too,
Mm-hmm. And I love the oh, sorry, Steph, ladies first.
I was just gonna say I could speak to that, because my children got started, and how I got interested in CrossFit was we went to a homeschool gym class. So I don't know what homeschooling's like where you live, but in the United States it's legal, and we've homeschooled the entire way. And I waited. We didn't do t-ball, soccer, basketball. We didn't do all that stuff because I was like, I don't know, none of it really fits like what I'm going for. And then someone offered this homeschool gym class, and I put my kids in that class. And I remember sitting there, this would be like 2012, and I'm watching, and this was like the era of the tall socks and the, the nanos, the first nanos. And I'm watching, I'm thinking, boy, they squat a lot, but I just remember thinking it was so genius because they used words like functional fitness. And then the coaches would show me, like, look at these kids, like, think about how much kids squat, in general, in life, in everyday life. And I would see how these movements would translate to real things. And like you were talking about, Brock, having good discipline and good ethics, if you will, and all of that. And I wasn't looking for that necessarily, but then when I saw it, I was like, this is it. And so you talk about starting from the bottom up. We started at a little homeschool gym class. And again, my son's like games feats were just, one stop on the way. And that's just one, piece of that. But that wasn't the end. That was, part of the means to the end, which is living a healthy, functional life. And they started that when they were 8 or 9 years old.
That's beautiful, man. That really is. We teach life through the medium of fitness. At the end of the day, this constant interaction with the world around us. We are bound to this kind of meat sack. So I think we're going to have to use it. We like to hide behind bloody laptops and internet and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, we got to move, and we learn, or at least a lot of us, and especially if you're blonde like myself, like you learn by doing, right? You learn by tripping up and hurting yourself and putting your hand on a hot stove and be like, oh, that was a bit of a dumb idea. Maybe I don't do that again. It's like, yeah, like that's the point. We shouldn't be wrapped in cotton wool, and bubble wrap all the time. It's like, no, they can't help themselves. It's like, yeah, I don't want them to break themselves, so they never try anything again. But maybe getting knocked around a little bit isn't so bad.
Yeah,
Maybe learning how to squat isn't so bad.
I love that. And I mean, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think Steph and I were talking a little bit before we got on here, and I was telling her a story of sort of like a game I used to like to play psychologically with my athletes. Say I have a team of, let's play with you real quick, Alex. So let's say you're part of a team, okay? And you have 9 teammates, and we're all going to do a strength conditioning drill. And I explain it, and it sounds terrible. It's an anaerobic sprint that's going to blow you up, okay? And we're going to go one at a time, all right? And it's a contest. We're going to see who wins, all right? And I explain what it is, and you're familiar with the ski erg, right? So say it's a 25 calorie skier directly into a 100-yard sled push sprint with 200-pound sled that moves pretty easy, that you can run with the whole time, but it's going to hurt by the time the end hits. Okay, and I explained the whole workout, and then I talked to the group, and I said, okay, who wants to go first? Are you raising your hand?
No.
Right. So we try to condition the kids that raising your hand first is the right thing to do. Okay. And I'm not trying to, blow you up here or anything, but I mean, I would say no as well. So, but my point is, like, we try to condition them to the point where they want to be the one to set the tone. They want to be the one to lead. They want to be the one to put the time up there that everybody has to be, because they know that if they do that and they put the time up there and they're done and nobody could touch that time, the satisfaction of that feeling is 10 times the satisfaction of knowing what everybody else got and just barely beating it and knowing at that level. And it's like little things like that slowly build this sort of like, they forge this sort of like steel mindset of that you're capable and that you're able, even if you don't win, right? Just going first and knowing that you were strong enough to stand up and take that challenge on when nobody else was, those little things come back later in life and are tools that you can use and you can pull out. And those are the little things that we want to give these kids. And that's just obviously one very small example, but the little things that we want to give these kids is those tools to be able to battle the demons, so to speak, that they may face, or the adversity that comes up later in life. It's like, well, I've kind of done some of this stuff, or even if you don't feel it on a conscious level, on a subconscious level, the comfort and the anxiety levels are going to be a little bit more controllable, if that makes sense.
I love how you use the term anxiety. I think I'll say it at least once a day. You'll see some folk in the middle of a class and you can tell them they're shit in their pants. And you're like, yeah, I would be too. Like, this is going to suck. Don't worry about it. It's like, I want you to deal with that anxiety. I think running away from it and reducing it is not the way to go about it. We need to be able to manage it. Like, reducing the impact of the world on us. Like, no, the world's going to do its thing. It doesn't care about you. You're going to have to manage it. You've got to improve our management. So, okay, stress management, anxiety management, what are you going to do? And it was the old Aristotle who said, adversity exposes you to you. In the middle of the workout, you've done that 25 cals, you're probably halfway through, maybe a couple of meters through the sled push. What are you going to do? Like, you kind of look up and it's actually a mirror you're looking at, and you're staring in your eyes. And you're like, wow, this was a bad idea. I went out too hot. This hurts. I don't like it. Coach is an asshole. I was like, how do I get to the end? I was like, it's a good question. How do you get to the end? And it's just you and you just constantly talking to each other. And I think the younger we can teach that to a kid, the better. You know,
It's
like
similar to the Rich Froning, Into the Storm with the bull. The buffaloes. It's like, what are you going to do when the storm comes? Are you going to run and hide underneath the barn with all the other animals? Or are you going to be like the buffalo and walk directly into it, and take it on head on, and just let that thing pass? It's yeah. I'm with you. I love it. I love it.
for sure, like building resilient human beings, and then you're going to build a sense of camaraderie of like, yeah, guys, this sucks, but you've had a taste of it and everybody's going to get a taste of it too. So we're going to pull you through it and you're going to pull us through it. And at the end of the day on the scoreboard, you want to look at something. It doesn't matter if you're first or 10th, but you're like, I tell you what, I couldn't have got another second faster. You're like, that's bloody epic, man. That feeling right there is gold, liquid gold. It's better than anything. You could chase a vice all you want, but you're never going to get that feeling.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. Satisfaction. You know what I mean? At its purest, that satisfaction is purest for sure. And if you think about that situation that I explained earlier, what do you try to do? Steph told me a story earlier about how she had her son wanted to fish, and she said, well, you can get fish, but you're going to have to go. There's a phone next to the fish. You're going to call the employee to come down. The employee comes down. You have to tell them what fish you want. And as a young child, that seems overwhelming, like, wait, what? I have to be an adult. And I mean, that's the real life picture of raising your hand first. It's like, sure, it's uncomfortable. Obviously, everybody's scared, right? Everybody's scared. But who's willing to, sprint when the distance is unknown, so to speak? It's like, who's willing to say, I'll be first. I'll go, I'll go in first. Those are the champions of the world.
Where would you want to take this?
So I love this quote. If you have a goal in mind that you can conquer in your lifetime, then your goal is too small. Okay. So I don't know where it's going to end up, but where I would like to take it is to a place where someone else can finish or continue, I should say, continue it, because any good program usually comes to an end when the infrastructure breaks down, the culture breaks down, the leadership isn't quite there anymore, the tradition's not there anymore. Any good program breaks down because of that. And I think the real finesse of building a good program is to build it with, like the pyramids were built, right? With an indestructible foundation that will last through anything. And if our goal is to actually change the world, and I've said that with less confidence than I say now because of the work that we've done and the success that we've had, every year the confidence goes higher and higher and higher. And I used to have a little statement I would say after that. I'd say, well, something kind of like changing the world, you're not maybe not change the world, I'd be insecure about that statement, but I'm not anymore, because I know that the world can be changed if we raise kids to look up to people that are good people, that are doing good things for humanity, and that are doing morally just projects. And if we slowly not just teach the kids how to be healthy, but teach the kids how to look up to people that are doing good things, and teach the kids how to be leaders who are doing that, and then continue that process on and on and on and on. Eventually, it's just inevitable. I mean, it's a progressive change of humanity in a way, maybe it's 50 years that we actually can look at it and go, oh, wow, look at this some maybe nobody will ever notice because it's going to be so subtle and so long of a process, and that's okay, right? It's okay, but there has to be a passionate attempt and a consistent attempt in that direction for it to even be possible, and there's been a lot of people in this world that show us that, I mean, I say this with a little insecurity that nothing is impossible, but there's been some people that have done some really, really, really mind-blowing things in the history of this planet. So
Rome wasn't built in a day, but they were laying
it
bricks every hour.
You're right. You're right. I mean, you have guys like Nims. You know who Nims is from Nepal?
Nims died.
Yeah, 14 peaks. I mean, that's things like that are just, that proves that there's a lot of things that you could accomplish, especially with a big team. With a team, the whole.
Well, and I like how you said it, Brock. I mean, like, it doesn't have to be these big, fancy, really sexy things. It's raising a kid who gets out of CrossFit a certain grind and work ethic that then he or she goes and supports their family and, is raising great kids themselves. Or, they go and they're the very best plumber pipe fitter that you've ever seen, which is actually the field that my son is going into. Or there was just a kid today that dropped into our gym. He's 20 years old. And I said, oh, hi, I've never met you before. And why, what are you doing? What's your experience here? And he said, well, I'm training to be, I guess they call him journeyman, Alex, but he's the guy that climbs way up high and puts up the electrical wires and the utility wires and those things. Yeah. And he's like, I'm here to train so that I can do that. And, so it's not always it may not be on the podium at an athletic event or things like that, but these are people who are, you just want to see them actually then investing into the next generation as well. And then that just perpetuates. And so my mind is my views are as big as Brock's, and as far as changing the whole world for generations to come. But I also think it happens sort of like each, just one person at a time. And I could just sit here and reiterate countless stories of athletes that have come through just in the past 4 years. We've had probably a good 500-600 athletes just come through our competitions that are now just doing amazing things to give back to, to lead the world. And, these, I really mean this. I'm 52 years old. In 10 years, these kids right now are going to be making decisions about my retirement, or making decisions about how the world is run. They're going to be running the world in 10 years. And we need to really be mindful to help them to do that, and then to learn from them as well.
We don't inherit the world from our parents, we borrow it from our kids, right? And I think if more people spent more time thinking about that, we would intentionally give it, it's like leave the jersey in a better place than you found it, right? That was always the saying back in the sheds playing rugby. Was, no one should ever have to clean up after you and leave the jersey in a better place than you found it.
Yeah,
shouldn't it be the same with the world?
I think I think the best analogy on this whole talk is the story of the wheat seed. Are you familiar with the story of wheat, Alex?
No, I'm not. Please give me some Midwest education.
Well, this actually started in Italy. So the good wheat's overseas. We can't get the good stuff anymore over here because us Americans stole the idea from you and made it more palatable and gave it a shelf life.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, kind of nice, but not really in the story of the wheat seed.
For sure.
Okay, so initially this seed it grew with roots that went way, way deep in the ground. It came up every year, right? Well, that it was full of nutrients. It was full of all the good stuff that we want, out of a product, out of like a grain. It was a healthy, very healthy grain. But the problem was the shelf life was only a few days. Okay, so it started to mold, and it was very popular, very, very popular. But the only problem is you spend all this time growing all this wheat, and then once it was cut and it was turned into a product, if you didn't sell it all immediately and people use it immediately, it would just go to waste. Well, then, eventually we decided to come up with a genetically modified version of this. And we took a germ out of the wheat. Well, once we took this specific germ out of the wheat, it allowed us to, turn it into flour and make breads that were had weeks of shelf life and these different things, right? But the problem is the wheat root only goes into the ground a few inches, and then every year you have to tear it all up and plant a brand new seed, and then tear it up and plant a brand new seed, right? Well, the old wheat, how it grew really deep roots way into the ground, and the roots actually grew into each other. It made a network of one large field of wheat, and it came up, and I don't know if it communicated, but it came up together, and it was a very healthy and sustainable choice. And the reason I'm bringing this up as an analogy is because if you plant one of those good wheat seeds and it goes in the ground, all the nutrients that it pulls, it creates like a 5 foot by 5 foot square around one seed that makes the soil rich as rich and moist, and all of the bugs are coming, and the symbiotic nature of the plant is working with nature and pulling things in, and promoting great growth around it. So like these kids that are coming through this program, like we have this little internal thing that we use in the office, like that's a wheat seed, and that's somebody who was planted and nurtured, and they're making the soil around them rich. And eventually, if we have enough of these wheat seeds all over the world, and they're making the soil around them rich everywhere, from New Zealand to America, that's when you start feeling the value of a project along the lines of this.
Start linking together and doing some cool stuff. I got a question for you both. What are the 3 words you would tell your younger self?
You want me to start?
Start wherever, bro.
Okay. So 3 words. Words? Well, a word that I hold really close is ownership. Understand. I would say understand how to utilize ownership, right?
Yeah.
Ownership is a huge part of life, and I think if you understand what ownership means, you eliminate a lot of unnecessary arguments and conversations and all the above. So I'd say understand ownership, know how to love, and ownership, love, and humility.
Steph?
Yeah, Brooke kind of stole mine, but no, kind of same thing. Ownership's obviously one of them, and then humility also, because without humility, you really got nothing. That encompasses a lot. And then it's the idea of serving or giving, which are synonyms, but serve, just give till it hurts, give, and you always reap it back in one way or another. So just give sacrificially, I think I would just say. So yeah, humility, ownership, and serve/give.
Guys, I love
And
it.
how about you, Alex?
Me, 3 words. Do your thing.
Oh, mine was leave no doubt thing.
Leave no doubt.
If we're doing it that way, it's leave no doubt.
Yeah.
When in doubt, leave no doubt.
We all got journeys to get to the spot we're in, right? And it's funny thinking back. I think we got to think back and understand, so you can a lot of the time just provide some empathy to yourself and be like, you know what, shit happens, man. Like we've all done this, we've all done that. No problem. We are in the spot that we're in now. Take ownership of it. Where are we going? You're at a T junction, left or right. You just gotta do your thing. Guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Alex. Have a great day, man.
You
I'll
too,
look you
man.
up when we get over there to check out the big crater. What do they
Hey,
call that?
get over.
What do they call that?
Do you mean Mount Doom?
Don't they call it like something else? Like, isn't it known for the big crater, the hole, what's that? What is that thing? You know what I'm talking about? You're not from New Zealand. I might know more about it than you.
Well, you will do, yeah.
No.
I'm Northern. Yeah, man.
No.
Show up.
I will one day.
I'll show you around. Or maybe you'll show
Cool.
me around.
No.
I have to make it out the Midwest.
Yeah, I was gonna say the feeling is mutual. Out here, we have a spot for you to stay. We have a lot of fun stuff, man. Lots of land to do torturous events on. You know, kids
Sounds
to
like a
make
good
you
time.
feel like a just an absolute non-fit human. So all that's around here for us to keep us humble, right?
I get that daily in the noon class, man. I'll jump in with the crew and I'm like, oh, I got to start doing some fitness because I'm getting my ass kicked. But 100%, I'm gonna try and make it to the games next year.
Awesome. If you do, make sure you look us up.
Yeah, around that time, I want to do some a bit of traveling around the States. It's a big place, obviously.
Yeah.
See what it's like. Dine with the people, meet the folks, talk some shit, do some fitness.
I think you'd have a great time, man.
I'm in.
It's gonna be an epic year for the games at the new venue.
I'm in. Count me in, boss.
Awesome.
All right.
Stay long enough, you can come to our event too.
Of course. You can send me dates.
All right. Sounds good.
Take it easy, team. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.